Okay, if you look at your notes for today, what's the difference in the formula that we're going to be graphing today? What letters are given to you?
X and Y.
X and Y, and then what other letters that are capitalized? A and B, and they are capitalized. When we talked about slope, was slope ever the numbers or the letters A, B, or C? No. So does this version called standard form, does it tell you the slope? No. We actually have to do something to find the slope for this equation. When graphing equations from standard form, which is ax plus by equals c, all we have to do is solve for y, which we know how to do. We've practiced in the last couple units, because once we solve for y, it's going to be back in that slope-intercept form, which we learned to graph last class. And we'll continue to practice graphing today. So what we're adding today to our unit on graphing is a step 0. The graphing stuff with the ruler and your pencils on your paper, that is all the same, so it'll be a review. But we have to start off by solving or rewriting the equation. So to review steps for solving for y, the steps are to take the equation and do what first? If this is the equation that I'm trying to solve for y, what am I going to do first? Minus 3x, right? Okay, so I would subtract 3x from both sides, and I would write that 3x away from the 15 because they're not like terms. Notice right here, it even tells you what to do. It says subtract 3x because that's the opposite, right? We're going to end up with this equation in the next step. Negative 5y equal to negative 3x plus 15. Why didn't I make this 12x?
Because it's a negative going with positive going with negative.
Not necessarily. It's not having to do with the signs. What were you going to say? Not because it's a negative. Yes, boys? Yeah, that's really what we're looking for. It's not necessarily that one's positive or negative, but you see how this negative 3x has an x attached to it? Can you combine it with something that doesn't have an x attached to it? No, we can't combine things that are like that. We have to combine only like terms, and those aren't like terms. So we just literally do less, write them down next to each other. Okay, what does it say is my next step? / what do you know is the next step? Why am I dividing by negative 5?
Because 5y dividing by the y.
Because that's the coefficient of the y, right? We want y by itself, so we divide every single part of this equation by negative 5. The last step is to simplify or actually do all of those division problems. So if you do negative 3 divided by negative 5, you get 3/5. And if you do 15 divided by negative 5, you get negative 3. What do you now notice about this equation in that last step, the step I'm putting a green star next to? I specifically circled and boxed things on purpose. What did I get now that I finished solving? My B and my...
A.
Oh, it's not A. Guys, what? The M. I get the slope and the y-intercept, which we needed to graph functions last time. Last class, I just gave you the green equation. You just circled the slope and you boxed y-intercept and went for it. Today, sometimes you're going to have to solve and rearrange before you get the M and the B. But after this, it's the literal exact same. So we begin with the y-intercept. So we started at the coordinate point 0, negative 3. That's where we started. And then how did I make this next point over here that I just did in red? What did I do?
You went up 3.
I went up 3
Over 5.
and over 5. Because remember, when we're doing slopes, we're finding rises and runs. Go ahead and draw those arrows next to that number 3 over 5. The 3 should have an up arrow next to it, and the 5 should have a right arrow, because that tells me exactly how to count. Now that I've answered all of your questions, let's go to the back here.
You only answered me.
Well, he has another question. On the back here, we're just going to do these practice problems. I'm going to do number 1. You're going to do number 2. Oh, these look really similar, right? All we're going to be doing is graphing and then identifying key features. But right now, does this equation that you see on the paper, I'm going to highlight it in black here, does this equation in black match the formula that we want to be able to graph stuff in? Does it look exactly like that pattern? No, so we need to resolve it or rearrange it so that it does. But luckily, there's only one step to need to do that. To get the y all the way by itself, so it says y equals. What am I dividing by? All right, everybody right now, put your divide by -4 underneath each and every part of that equation. Because then I know exactly what little fractions I'm going to either put in my brain or in my calculator to calculate. So the -4 over -4 cancels out. That's why we do this. So you can slice those out if you want, and you just have y equals. And then you have 2, bless you, 2 divided by -4. In your brain or in your calculator, can someone reduce 2 divided by -4 for me? Positive? Negative 1/2. Okay. That has an x next to it. And then -8 divided by -4. Ooh. Negative divided by negative is a positive 2. Okay, cool. At this point, please circle the slope and box the y-intercept. So everybody circles the slope. Everybody boxes the y-intercept.
Remember to include your signs whenever you're circling and boxing things, because that goes with your.
It's
Correct.
basically
Don't
what we
circle
did,
your
is doing it
But
an extra
circle the
step
sign
for
in
just
front.
a.
That's exactly it. It's what we did last time. We just have to rearrange
So
first.
basically, if we look, so basically, okay, never mind.
Okay. So we would circle the slope and we box the y-intercept. Did you circle just -1/2? Please do not circle the x. Oh my gosh.
I did not.
The x is not a part of the slope. Slope is m, and in the formula, do you see how m is before the x? Okay, so it's not actually part of my slope, but it is a good indicator of what the slope is. It's when y is isolated, it's the number in front of x, but not the x. Very cool, yeah, so if we're graphing this, we're going to go over to our graph, and we're going to start at 2. Did I do this right? Everybody look up at the screen. Did I do that right? Oh.
Wait, no.
Yeah, remember, this is a y-intercept. I just started on the x-axis. Is that correct?
No.
Yeah, don't do that. Bad. So we actually start on the y-axis. And you guys are correct. I heard someone say it already. What's my movement? Down 1. Very cool. Thank you for down because it's negative. And then over 2. And then I'm going to make my next dot. And I'm going to keep doing that pattern until I've got like 3 or 4 dots on my screen. And that's when, and my screen, I mean paper because I'm on a screen, but you're on a paper. I'm going to get my ruler. I'm going to put my ruler down on my page and make a nice, pretty straight line. Please do. Hopefully it's better than mine because you know I'm bad at this. Ooh, somehow it's still crooked. I use a ruler and it's still crooked. What should your line have on the end of it? What am I really particular about?
Straight.
Arrow. It should be straight across the whole graph, and it should end with arrows. Thank you. Yeah, I'm real particular about that. Thank you. Let's make sure yours has arrows, and then let's go answer some questions about this graph.
The slope is 1/2. Negative 1/2.
Thank you. Yeah, the slope. So we're going to say m equals -1/2. That means we're going down and to the right. What is the rate of change, though?
Say it again.
What's the rate of change? It's the same thing as the slope, absolutely. So we're still going to answer m equals -1/2. Because they're the same thing. It's just 2 different vocabulary words for the same part. Now, the x-intercept is where the graph crosses the x-axis. Where does this graph cross the x-axis? 4, but I need a coordinate. So what is the coordinate for 4?
4, 0.
4, 0. Very good. Over 4, up none. Where does this graph cross the y-axis? 0, 2. Yeah, we've already identified. We put a box around that number over here because we said that this was the y-intercept. So it's just that number in a coordinate, which is 0, 2. And then what is the 0 of the function? The number 4, or x equal 4, because it's the same as the x-intercept, but just the value there of 0. Before we move on and I let you try one, I need one question. Thank you for that question, because you're right, even though that was a statement, but yeah. Okay, you guys have number 2. I want you guys to try number 2. Starting from the beginning, I need you to graph and then identify all the features. Can you graph it right away? No, what are we going to have to do first?
Break it down.
Rearrange it, solve it for y. Cool, you guys got it. Give yourself some time. I'm seeing some good things, but let me just help you get through the solving for y part if that's where it's stopping you. Here, if I'm trying to get the y by itself, what number am I going to have to divide both sides by?
By -5.
By -5. Make sure that when you show me you're dividing, you're actually giving me the fraction bar for dividing. That's how you show me you're dividing. The -5s, should it be exactly the same? That's why they cancel. This would be y equals -2 divided by -5, which is 2/5, and 10 divided by -5, which is -2. At this point, you should have a slope and a y-intercept. And I'm going to stop talking for a little bit because I want those of you who are stuck on that part to be able to practice the graphing.
So you identify -2 on your y-intercept? I mean, on your y-axis? Okay, good. And then this is how you move from that to. You're gonna go up. Okay. Do it again. From that point, from the new point.
If y'all want to keep going, keep going. Yasmin, if you want to keep going, I think you can figure out the other two.
Why would I? Am I going this way?
Check on, ooh, can you help him? What's going on? Why are we stalled?
Huh?
We stopped. Why are we stopped? Keep going.
Am I right?
Oh, so close. You wrote up, right. Why'd you go down?
Oh,
Do we divide this with a negative?
So that whole term needs to move to that side. So remember, like when we needed to move this whole term to that side, what did we do?
We're supposed to do this.
Those other problems started here. The problem you're on starts at this step.
Can we do a negative one or just leave it as a variable?
Negative 1x, yeah. Yeah, what's up?
oh.
Well, what did you box? What do you begin at? Oh, is it on the x-axis or the y-axis? Go to the -2 on the y. Yeah, that's right.
Am I going to the other direction?
So you follow, no, this should still go that way. Always to the right with the denominator, always to the right. But this time, instead of counting down and right, you should go up and right. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, say that again. When Adrian comes back. I'm about to show so you can see, but try to answer these questions.
I was gonna leave the point
Yes.
here, right? In order to find it, I would do the opposite. So I
So,
would go down
okay,
two
awesome.
and go to the left.
You flipped this number. That's why it's messing you up. You thought -2 divided by -5.
If
And
you
all of a
draw
sudden
the
you flipped it
line,
over. It should be 2-5.
it would look the same all the way
And then
across
you followed the
graph
correct instructions. You just
every
used the
single
wrong
time.
slope.
For
But
on
on
and
this
off
one, I
graph.
don't get this one.
That's the point of the slope. We wanna see how it's moving.
Let me, I like what you're doing. You're doing it out of order from what I would do, but not incorrectly. So let me show you one before we keep going, okay? Because I like what you're doing. It's actually really smart, but backwards from the steps I'll normally take.
It just allowed me to see.
All right, my friends, thank you.
Only do it one time.
So here we go. If we tried this one, we should have started or began at -2 on the y-axis. Do I go up or down? Up 2. So up 2 and over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need another point because I can't draw a straight line to save my life. Up 2 and over 5. And then we use our ruler to draw the line, which to me would look like this. How did you do? Great, which means what is our slope here?
2/5.
2/5, which means I'm going to go up and over, up and to the right, which also means our rate of change is 2/5. Our x-intercept,
3.
ooh, where does the graph cross the x-axis?
5.
Is it 0,5 or 5,0?
5.
5,0, very good. We're getting better at coordinates, y'all. Our y-intercept, 0,-2 should be the same number where you began. Thus, our 0 is 5 because it's the same as the x-intercept. Cool. I've got some people who are ready to move on to 3 and 4. So if you still need help with these two, the steps are actually inside the problems for 3 and 4. So we'll get more practice here. In example 3, This is truly in standard form. AX plus BY equal to C. It's the version that does not have an M in it. So we need to find what the M and the B are, which means we need to solve for Y. If this were a regular solve for Y question, we would have drawn a line down our equal sign and done what first?
Divided by 2.
Not yet. We will divide by 2 in a second. But when we solve for Y, we have to move everything that doesn't have a Y in it to the other side. So how do I move this X to the other side?
By replacing with a 1 and putting it behind the 4.
No, do a negative X.
We're going to subtract it to both sides. I see. So this is a 1x. We're going to subtract 1x from both sides. And we are going to put it behind the 4 because it's not a like term. We should then have positive 2y equal to negative 1x plus 4. And now, Adrian, what am I about to do? Divide by 2. Sorry, this Adrian. Now, am I dividing by 2 or negative 2?
I just came here, I don't know.
Okay, look at the problem. Am I dividing by 2 or negative 2? 2. Very cool. So then I actually do all those divisions. This would be y equal to negative 1/2 x, and then 4 divided by 2, what am I saying, is 2. Let's go with Vani. Vani, what would I circle for this problem? The negative 1/2. And then Catherine, what am I going to be putting a box around? The positive 2. Very cool. So now I have both identified my y-intercept and my slope. So help me out again. I'm going to graph this one. If I graph this, did I start off correctly?
No.
Oh my gosh, I still see people doing this. What did I do wrong?
You put it on the X.
Yeah, it's called a y-intercept, not an x-intercept. So it needs to go here at 2. And then Marissa, since my slope is negative 1/2, am I going to go up or down?
Down.
Oh, there's so many Marissas in this class. Marissa, what am I going to do? Down. Okay, cool. So down 1 and then to the right 2. Repeat. Down 1, right 2. Down 1, right 2 until I feel confident that I can take my ruler and connect the dots and do an actual really nice line. See if I can do this one today. Oh, wow. I'm literally using a ruler and still making somehow crooked lines. Y'all be better than me, please.
You gotta like hold down the ruler like you like the pins.
I know, it's weird on a screen though. I'm gonna blame the screen.
You're like a projector.
Right? Okay, let's go with Alex. What is my slope again?
M negative 1/2.
Negative 1/2, very cool. Which means I'm gonna go down and to the right. And then Alex again, what is the rate of change? It's the same thing, yeah, still the slope. So negative 1/2. Theo, what is the x-intercept? Where does it cross that x-axis? What number is it crossing on the flat axis? Yeah, 4. So our x-intercept is going to be 4, 0. Anakin, what number is it crossing on the y-axis? 0, 2. Very cool. And then Glenn, what is my 0? Zero is the same as what other vocabulary word, Glenn? Four. There you go. Yeah, we're back. There we go. Okay, cool. Okay, so we're trying number 4 now. Here we go. I'll zoom in for it.
Together or?
All right, my friends, now that we've checked our work. So again, solve for y, which is a skill that we've been practicing for a minute. We move the x term. We divide by the number in front of y, reduce everything. Then we can graph just like we did last time and identify all the key features. Yes?
Yep.
Cool. We'll move on.